Hey up for a race in World Series Round 19, Abu Dhabi, Part 3, going for a second attempted safety car restart. And I think it's fair to say that if this one does not go well, the race will not be happening this evening. We may reschedule it for next week.
Unready. You're in a Mana Marusha.
Okay, my apologies. That's...
Oh, it's not going to do it. There we go.
Oh, well.
Just in time.
Well, I got out of the Mana Marusha. Whether they got in the right car or not, I don't know. Apologies, that's frustration on my part. I mean, some of the actions of the drivers on that first safety car restart were rather ridiculous. I mean, a lagging car, there's not a lot any of the drivers can do about that. But it's one of the things that was talked about on the broadcast last week, and why it's so important to have a decent connection. But yeah, I mean, it's frustrating from hosting a lobby or a session or a league or doing commentary, and quite frankly, it's embarrassing at times to see people what they're doing on the track. I mean, it's not a difficult process really, although sometimes stuff does happen. Okay, qualifying session for the drivers to get there, set up on and retire from the session. Normal safety car rules apply. The drivers have got a lap or two if they need it to get into order, and James Hulkenberg will retire to let the drivers know that everybody is in the correct order, and then they are free to race from the safety car line. So, James, do you reckon we'll get through this one?
I'm doubtful, to be fair.
You know, part of me would be tempted to agree with
we've
that.
got Drew setting off on circuit. I just don't get what...
Yeah, I mean, he has been told a couple of times that the qualifying session is to put your setup on and retire from the session. That's all you have to do. Basically, if you're going out on track, you're just wasting everybody's time. So yeah, get it retired. Everybody else is doing that, and he has done now. And I shall retire as well. Now, I will go through the grid order quickly. Again, I've done it a few times. K-Slay, pole position. From a Racing GP, second place. Rickster in third place. Hybrid Nuke in fourth. RDB in fifth. Acorn in sixth. Dave the Harp in seventh. Andy Russell in ninth. Millstar 10th. Adam 4600 11th. Charlie in 12th. Hindle and Hybrid Nuke. Hindle and Richie Davey in 13th and 14th place. So hopefully this time around they'll be able to get themselves into position. I mean, it's quite frustrating because there's been previous safety car restarts we've done this season where they can get into position within a few corners.
Yeah, it's always not only frustrating for the drivers that are doing the correct thing, but it's frustrating for commentary team, frustrating for the viewers watching mainly.
Yep, it is. It is frustrating. I mean, if someone gets disconnected during a safety car restart, not all you can do about that. But yeah, I mean, it does make it very frustrating. So, let's get ready then, shall we? And hope that the drivers can get themselves into position nice and quickly without any dramas. I mean, it's one of those situations where, I mean, if it was me or you, James, for example, if we were currently on the front row of the grid, like, say, for example, Adam 4600 is here, and he knows he needs to be quite some way down the order, then all you have to do is drive up to turn one, pull off the side of the road, and wait for pretty much everyone to pass you and then get into your position.
Exactly.
But I mean, let's face it, if you were under a safety car condition, getting yourself into position and ended up getting an off-track penalty or something like that, so I was mentioning earlier that any incidents that happen under the safety car condition, the drivers have the option of sending a message to the race directors after the event and saying, look, I got a penalty for this. Now, if it's something that should stand, then it will stand, but if it's something that's not quite right, then yeah. But I mean, it's like at the start here, there might be a few drivers that are sort of absolutely hammering it down to turn 1, when in reality there's absolutely no need for it. But hopefully the drivers will be able to get themselves into some form of decent order. We'll see how they get on. Okay, so Casely should be leading the way, and he is. Now in second place we should have Front Row Racing GP, and he is now up into second place. And then we should have Rickster. He's got a few places to make up yet. He's now into third place. In fourth place we should have Hybrid Nuke. He is now in fourth place. In fifth place we should have RDB. He's in that order. And then we should have Acorn 95. He is also now in position. And a little bit of ghosting, getting a bit close to RDB there. So after Acorn it should be Dave the Harp, and it is. And then we should have Drew. He's now in position. Then we should have Andy Russell, and he is in position. And then Millstar, he is in position. He's in the wrong car, but that's my fault. Then we should have Adam 4600, but we've got Charlie, Hindle, and then Richie Davey. So it looks like Adam 4600 has effectively dropped himself to the back of the grid here, which, if that's what he's done, it's not a bad decision for him to take, because if he has had lag, then it would have been a problem. Right, okay, let's see where Casely is. If you want to retire, James, you can. They are all in order.
Bunched up. Here we go.
So James
retiring now.
Okay, so James will retire then. That'll allow the drivers to absolutely go at it from the safety car line, which is coming up now.
Oh.
So the race is underway.
RDB almost taking out the back of Hybrid Nuke before the safety car line. Both Ferraris are popping away, and we've got a side by side with Drew and Dave the Harp down at turn 1. Dave the Harp just slammed the door shut there.
That's put Drew under pressure now from Andy Russell, who's got Millstar all over the back of him, and what looks like Charlie as well. It is. So Andy Russell under a little bit of pressure there as Casely opens up a little bit of gap at the front. Try and have a quick look here, see if anyone's on the prime tyre.
RDB is under pressure from Acorn 95. Both Mercedes-Benz having a bit of a bolt on, as I think GP may be under pressure from Rickster, but I think RDB is the one that's mainly under pressure.
Rickster's having a look.
Oh, Acorn very mental there on the overtake. He's made it move. He's made the move stick, but it was very wild. As behind there we've got Mana Marusha. Let's just see who that was.
Well, for a Racing GP, hang on a second, James. Yeah, he's dropped down from second to could be fourth place. He's going to try and hang it around the inside, now the outside, now the inside, but he's not been able to hold on to that position.
And Acorn's up the inside and just slammed into him. That was disgusting from Acorn 95 there.
So now these two do have a little bit of history, Acorn 95 and Front Row Racing GP, from a collision that happened at Singapore, where Acorn appeared to move across the track and sort of put Front Row Racing GP into the wall, causing terminal damage. And just behind them we've got RDB, who's coming under a little pressure from Dave the Harp by the looks of it, who's now got Andy Russell all over the back of him. And Hindle is only up to 12th for the moment, but he is running the prime tyre, as is Richie Davey. So 12th and 13th, the only drivers on the prime tyre at the moment.
Yeah, it's looking like GP is trying to pull a gap, but he is not pulling in on that Mercedes-Benz at the moment.
Well, it's possible that the drivers' tyres were not warm enough for them at the start of this race. I mean, obviously, it was, I wouldn't say it was a late call to give the green light, but they wouldn't have had a lot of time to sort of get themselves ready. But we've tried it before when we give them plenty of warning, and it works in a worse way than giving them a late effect. Oh, Dave the Harp up behind RDB, a little bit of lag going on there. Don't know if there was contact, but Dave's up the inside.
That's nice to see, as GP now gets a decent run out of the chicane. He's up behind Acorn 95. Is he going to be showing him some manners down into the Mickey Mouse chicane? All the way around the outside. That's a brilliant move as he kept on circuit. I think he might have just gone all four wheels over.
I think Acorn may have given him a little bit of a nudge as well. Oh, and Acorn's giving him another little nudge as well. Dave the Harp, though, he's got RDB and a whole train of cars right behind him. That's not going to be making it easy for Dave the Harp here, as someone's locking up. That could have been Dave the Harp, but yeah, this is a right train of cars. 6-7 cars here up behind Dave the Harp now.
I've got some very weird sideways camera angles, which is not very helpful.
Not at all. Oh, Dave's gone very, very wide. That could give RDB half a chance at having a look. No, the door has been closed as they all make their way around the final corner now. Lap 4, pit strategy, obviously still starting on brand new tyres, will give them all the chance of going perhaps longer than they were initially thinking of going for.
Acorn is looking ragged behind GP. Just around a touch wide through turn 4, and it's almost sent him airborne. He's having a look up with the inside into the hairpin now. It's just backed out.
No, GP's gone wide.
He's going for it.
But he's got a better run out of the corner. But I tell you what, look at the traffic behind these guys. If that doesn't end in disaster, I don't know what wouldn't. But let's see. RDB 7th with Andy Russell behind him. About to be ahead of him.
I think he's going for it.
Oh, RDB's got it all wrong in the braking zone.
Oh, and Andy Russell almost slammed completely into side of Dave the Harp, and now Drew's got a decent run up behind Andy Russell.
It didn't end in complete disaster, but it has switched around a little bit in those positions. It's not always easy to brake on the curbs, and RDB there hits the brake on the curbs, got himself out of shape.
GP's just been hit by Acorn, and Acorn's let him back through.
GP holding on to 4th then, and Acorn holding on to 5th.
Oh, race leader, Casely's out. He's hit the wall.
I don't think he's out, but he is having to let everybody past him. He's definitely in the barrier with a loss from wing. Is that car moving? Yes, it is. He's going to have to be careful, though. He's had situations in the past where he's been disqualified trying to get back to track, but that's going to mean an early pit stop for him if he can avoid the barrier, and now his car's flying. Hindle, he's getting rid of his prime tyres at the end of lap 4. Bit early for some may think, but actually a good strategy.
GP and Acorn side by side through turn 3. This looks like a titanic battle.
Caseley's session, his race is over.
I'm surprised he's actually retired, because quite near the pit lane entry as Acorn goes for another slam dunk side by side with GP. He's not afraid of wheel banging in this race. He's got to be thankful in the Codemasters games when you get side by side it doesn't send you airborne.
And now you've said that, that's exactly what will happen.
There's Dave the Harp closing in on this battle now.
GP's going to have a DRS run here down towards the Mickey Mouse chicane. With the DRS he should be able to get ahead, but going all the way around the outside isn't easy.
He's done it.
And Dave the Harp's closing up, but look at the cars behind. We've got 5 cars trying to make it through a corner that it's difficult to get 2 cars through, and it looks like someone's lost a front wing as well. I've just seen a bit of debris flying towards the chicane. And a car's backwards, a car facing the wrong direction. That's Adam 4600 and Richie Davey. Has Richie got all of his front wing? Yes, he has. Let's see, up at the front, Rickster now leading this race ahead of Hybrid Nuke, who is in second place.
Oh, GP's been completely done into the pit lane. He had a bit of a wheel spin heading towards the pit lane, and I think it may have been side-by-side action with him and
Acorn 95.
Acorn into the pit.
So, as the drivers are making their first round of stops then, and this could play a crucial part of the race. I mean, lap 6 is about the time you'd expect them to pit for worn tyres. For brand new tyres, I'm surprised some of these guys haven't gone longer, but they're not going longer. Now, where's Hindle? Hindle's just managed to make the undercut work, and he's already ran the prime tyre. So Hindle still in this race. It's a good trick to go for, using the prime tyre for only a handful of laps at the start.
We've got a touch of lag, I think.
Yeah, I was about to say, getting rid of them.
Phase.
Oh, RDB! Something's happened with RDB there. He was facing the wrong direction at the DRS straight at the end of the long chicane. End of the first long straight.
And Dave Harp currently in P3 with a decent gap to the front runners, but Hybrid Nuke is under pressure from Rickster. He is hounding him into the final complex.
Now, the question could be, when will these guys pit? They've seen a few of the people making stops. Is it time for them to go for it as well?
If I were Rickster, I'd be getting in there. Whoa. Staying out.
Both of them are, so they're going to continue on. Dave the Harp, who is now running in third place.
He's in the pit.
Yep, he's going for the pits. Andy Russell behind him.
Reaction. And almost lost it on the curb there, did it happen into the pit lane.
So that's Dave and Andy into the pits with Drew and RDB continuing on.
GP's coming up on a bit of a gaggle. Red Bull's going for the pit, that's freeing up, but Acorn's coming up behind a Williams, which I think is Hindle.
He is. As Dave the Harp's only just making his way out of the pit limited zone at this moment in time.
And Acorn is right up behind Hindle now. And Dave Hart just comes out of the pit in front of Millstar, and Andy Russell has just come out behind Millstar.
Now, Acorn's in DRS range here, but we know that Hindle is quick. So for Acorn to get past him, he's going to need to use every trick in the book and then probably throw the book at him as well. Well,
also got RDB, who's under pressure from Drew for third place, but Drew doesn't seem to have got past there.
I'm just having a look. Acorn's not quick enough. He's not quick enough on the straight to attack Hindle. Oh, he's very late on the brakes.
Yeah, it's getting a bit reckless now from Acorn. Since it's the final race of the season, it's looking like the first.
Well, GP, who's just behind them, losing a bit of time to him now. He's running the prime tyre. Dave the Harp in 9th, he's running the option tyre. Millstar, in 10th, he's running the option tyre. And Andy Russell in 11th, he too is running the option tyre. And let's see, Hybrid Nuke.
Hybrid Nuke has stayed out, and the undercut is going for Rickster. He's taking our advice, he's going for the undercut.
Acorn 95
from the session.
Yep, his race is over. Rickster's gone for the prime tyre. RDB,
come out?
Well, RDB and Drew have already passed him. Richie Davies,
have a nice gap.
Well, he could be close.
Andy Russell's right up behind Millstar, heading down into turn 1.
Well, let's see. I mean, Richie Davies, he's going long on his prime tyres at the moment. Rickster, who's pitted, he's put prime tyres on. He's now catching these guys up. Let's see. He's got Richie Davies ahead of him and Drew. And they're sort of in DRS range of each other. Drew may have DRS from the car ahead, but Rickster now needs to make the really count.
Yeah, he can't. The good thing for Rickster is he's come out with a decent bit of air. At least he isn't right up somebody's gearbox out of the pit lane.
No, and I mean, he'll hope that RDB and Drew that are in 2nd and 3rd will be pitting very, very soon, as Richie Davey on the primes will also probably be pitting soon. So for Rickster, it may work out that by the time he catches up with these guys, or as Richie takes a lot of curb there, yeah, by the time he does catch up with these guys, they could be heading into the pits. Hybrid Nuke coming around the penultimate corner. Is it for the pit lane? No, it's not. He's going longer. That would suggest a 2-stop strategy, but he could be in a situation where he's just going to lose time.
I'm just looking at Drew in 3rd place. Lots of understeer underneath the hotel. It's not looking good as we know. The McLaren of Rickster is closing in, and he'll be piling past these. There's both into the pit lane. Richie Davies jumped in front of Drew into the pit lane. May
rectify on the exit, but that has now freed up Rickster. So as he could go onto the back of them, he has managed to pull away, but he's now got Hindle behind him. And the problem for Rickster is that Hindle has already ran the prime tyre, can run options to the end, but will be on a 3-stop strategy.
Yeah, Richie Davies kept his position in front of Drew, heading down into the tunnel.
Well, I think we're going to have a move going on any moment with Hindle and Rickster.
Andy Russell. We've got Andy Russell as well, side by side with Millstar.
I'm just going to keep an eye on this for the moment because Hindle is right up the gearbox of Rickster here. DRS is available. Now, is he going to go for the move into the first chicane, or is he going to get him out of position for the second one? He's already ahead. If he can use those option tyres to get a good exit and defend at the next chicane, he'll have that position confirmed. That may make Rickster think about switching his strategy, but Rickster's close with the DRS. I don't think he's close enough to attack, though. He's not.
Yeah, we've got 5th, 6th and 7th, which is David Hart, Millstar and Andy Russell. They're in a nice little gaggle, but doesn't look like there's going to be any overtaking happening soon. Millstar's gone wide, though, into the Mickey Mouse chicane. Could be giving Andy Russell a little hint. He needs to be putting him under pressure and getting past.
Yep, now Andy Russell will want to take the opportunity if it comes, but for Millstar, I mean, he's not going to want to give up any positions here. Now, he is driving in a Lotus, but he will score points for the Mana Marussia team. As from a Racing GP there in 4th place, I believe it is. Yeah, 4th on the prime tyres. If he can just stay ahead of these guys while he's on the prime tyre run, it could work out for him. With these guys being on the options and still having to run the primes.
We've got the race leader and Hindle and Rickster and Hybrid Nuke, who has just managed to keep the lead in front of Rickster and Hindle. It's a Williams 1-2 at the moment.
So Hybrid Nuke's done well then to make those tyres last to the end of lap 9. He's now on the prime tyres. I mean, I said that Rickster was perhaps not sort of close enough to that gaggle of cars to be affected, but it's possible that he has lost a bit of time through it and being overtaken by Hindle, which has given Hybrid Nuke a little bit of a gap advantage there. Yeah,
I think if anything, Hindle's given Rickster, he's held him up and helped Hybrid, his teammate, to maintain position, because he's still not letting him through.
I tell you what though, Hindle at this moment in time, he's in the best position to win this race. As Rickster and Hybrid Hindle side by side, it gets very tight there. It gets very tight, very difficult to make it work through that corner. Takes a lot of respect from both drivers, and I don't think Hindle will be overly pleased about that one because Rickster's on the prime tyre.
Exactly, it's going long, and the race leader also, Hybrid Nuke, is also on the prime tyre.
Now, if we look at it from a strategic point, 9 laps for Hybrid Nuke on that first set of option tyres, which would suggest he can do 9, 10, maybe 11 later on. So his prime stint may only take him to about lap 18, 19. Rickster, he'll have a longer prime stint unless he's going to do a short prime stint. But for Hindle, though, I mean, he pitted at the end of lap 4 to put these option tyres on. So I think that'll be going to about lap 12, 20, and then to the end of the race on the option tyre.
Yeah, it's a strange strategy for Hindle, because now he knows he's got to run them primes, and both of them in front. No, Hindle doesn't have to.
No, Hindle doesn't have to. Hindle started on the prime tyre and got rid of them after 4 laps. That's why I think he's in the best position.
He's got the DRS up and he's coming back. Oh, he's just going to have to open up this chicane. But Rickster's going to have good traction out of this corner.
Rickster has had a very good exit there. Could mean that Hindle might be a little bit too far back to have a look. He is. He's lost. He's lost out there. Yeah. But I mean, Hindle's in a situation now where he's been on these tyres for 6 laps. They are going to start wearing out now.
Yeah, it's not looking good as Millstar still holds off. Andy Russell is dropped off a bit from the back of David Hart.
I tell you what though, David Hart's now up to 4th, Millstar's 5th, Andy Russell is 6th, Richie Davies 7th now on the option tyre, RDB's in 8th, Drew's in 9th, from a Racing GP's now in 10th on the option tyre, so he's also got rid of his primes.
Millstar's going very slow through this hotel complex, and it's Richie Davies just chewing in with time. He's clearly got way more grip than these guys in front.
Richie Davies all over the back of his teammate now as well. I think majority of this quadruplet, I know that's not the right word, but I think 3 of these 4 cars pitted about the end of lap 6.
Around the outside of his teammate. I think that may have been team orders. Richard Davies now at the inside of Millstar.
Now he may be able to hang it all the way around the outside, and he does.
It on? He just has. That's brilliant to see.
I tell you what, Richie Davies is going to be on much fresher option tyres compared to these guys. That's why he's cutting through them a little bit like I was going to say a knife through butter, but it's more like a knife through water at the moment.
Here we go, we've got a bit of a showdown going on. It's going to be Dave Hart versus an ever-fast Richie Davey. We know that it's handbags at dawn when these two come together on circuit.
That's the thing, throughout the course of a season, rivalries do get created by what happens between the drivers on the track at times. As what I mentioned earlier on about Aco 95 and for a Racing GP, and Richie and Dave have had their collisions. I mean, they had one at Mexico, which was a big crash that resulted in both of the drivers having no front wings. Adam 4600's session is over, but Richie is all over the back of Dave Hart now, although a little bit of a lag spike there.
Yeah, a little bit of lag, yeah.
Now, interesting that happened just as Adam 4600's message popped up there. And Millstar, he's now under pressure from Andy Russell. And Dave the Harp, I think he's got to be starting to think about making another pit stop, as Millstar all out of shape behind. I think he was going for the pits. He is. He was slow out of that corner, which meant that Richie gave him a little bit of a nudge.
Yeah. Yeah, I think he was. And Hindle's also in, so Dave Hart pitting on the same like as Hindle.
Yep, and Millstar also in the pits as well. Let's see, Drew hit on his prime tyres. He's now continuing on. Now, from a Racing GP, he is now ahead of Dave the Hart, and I think he's going to have created quite a bit of a gap there. He's got Drew ahead of him. GP will be looking to run the option tyres all the way to the end now as well. Come out 6th place on brand new options. Car ahead is RDB, who's going to be making another stop soon, as will Andy Russell. Richie Davies probably going to try and take his set of option tyres a little bit longer.
GP, I think he's getting in the slipstream. I think he's maybe getting past Drew, as there's a bit of lag from Drew's car there. He's pulled to the side to make sure that there's no lag spike that's going to end up with front wings flying into the crowd.
Yeah, and looked a little bit more than a little bit of a lag spike. His car was jumping about all over the place from a Racing GP.
GP's
now
got a good run.
He has. He'll want to hope that he can get past and get ahead without any major dramas here. Drew on the inside defending the corner. GP, has he gone deep?
He's gone deep though.
He has.
He's just kept it on. He just kept it on. Literally like about half a tyre's width just within the white lines, but he took evasive action as Drew went for the racing line.
Okay, Rickster on his prime tyres. He's continuing on. He's in 2nd place now, 5 seconds behind the leader on the 14th, or starting the 14th lap of the race. Richie Davey, he's 18 seconds behind the leader. And as we know, he's on a set of option tyres that have not been on the car too long. Hindle now up to 4th place with
Drew. Yeah, we've just got to cut back to Drew, because GP is side by side with him heading down the start finish straight. Drew's out of position. GP could get a good, decent exit here. They've both run slightly wide, which has screwed GP's exit. He needs to make sure that he doesn't have too much dirty air around this fast right-hander.
Well, all of this is costing GP lap time now. Drew on the prime tyre is holding him up, and Dave the Harp, who I believe will be on a new set of option tyres, is going to be closing that gap in. Drew's had a little bit of a messy hairpin there.
Yeah.
And we can see Dave the Harp in the background. I tell you what, Drew's got good straight line speed though. Drew has got good straight line speed. DRS available for the Midlands Madness Ferrari driver there, and I want to hope that he's not going to come under attack into the next chicane.
Yeah, Drew, if he's got good straight line speed, GP needs to make sure he's keeping this door well and truly shut on the left hand side, which is what he's doing. But Drew, I don't think he's got a run.
Nope. So let's see. Dave the Harp will be the next guy to try and catch up to Drew. And let's see, Millstar recently pitted. He's now on the prime tyre. Andy Russell's gone back to options.
Rickster's just pulled into the pits from P2.
Okay, so Rickster then, he pitted, I'm trying to think of end of lap 5, end of lap 6. So this is going to be a set of option tyres for him. He's not going to be able to get these options to the end.
Just to put it in perspective, Hindle's just passing him now.
Yeah. So going long on that set of, well, I say long, doing 8-9 laps on that set of prime tyres has cost him quite a lot of time compared to Hindle's strategy, which effectively does the extra stop, but is much, much faster when it's on the racetrack.
Just looking through the drivers now, trying to find who is the closest on circuit. It's getting slightly spread out, but we've got Dave Harp closing in on Drew.
Alright, well, I'll tell you what, while we watch Dave the Harp close in on Drew, I'll go back to the question of the day, which I've not mentioned on part 3 of the broadcast this evening. So I'll ask you again, James, and this is for the viewers as well. No Googling it, though, please. That's just cheating. In 1982, who won the British Grand Prix?
I'm thinking back to 80s Formula 1.
I'll let you think about that. I'm going to let you think about that because Dave's close. He may have a look here. You think about it, try and work it out. He has got DRS. His GP is now catching up to RDB ahead as well. Dave can't get past. So, yeah, GP is closing up to RDB. But, yeah, come on, James, have a guess. Have a punt.
I'm pretty sure Emerson had retired by that point.
Oh, RDB's just got himself all out of shape, lost the position. Emerson may have retired. He also may not have retired.
I'm thinking, could it have been somebody like John Watson?
It's a good guess, but it wasn't.
Yeah.
Well, I'll hold that one off. I'll tell you what, I'll add a second bit to it. Which track would it have been?
Sorry, we've got Dave the Harp going for a move down on the start-finish straight, banging wheels.
Oh, squeezing Drew a little bit there, just about giving him enough room, but Drew's now down to 7th as Richie Davey comes out the pits.
Oh, just in front of Drew, but Richie Davey's just run all 4 wheels over the white line.
So now Richie's right behind Dave the Harp. He's going to have DRS.
We've had no cars near each other for a fair few laps. Now we've got everybody behind Dave the Harp.
Yeah. Well, Dave was the cause of a bit of a train a little earlier on, and they've all come along for another ride by the looks of things.
That's what we need to call Dave from now on. The conductors. Richie Davey stamps on the brakes up the inside. Dave Hart thinking about the long game, thinking about the next DRS straight. Getting straight back in that slipstream.
Now Richie will go defensive here. He always will.
Dave needs to get defensive and then pull out at the last moment. Here we go. Oh, this is deep on the brakes. But no, Richie Davies got that one.
So Richie holds on to that position then. Drew has now got Millstar and Andy Russell starting to catch him up. I think Drew might be making another pit stop soon. I'm fairly sure he's been on those prime tyres for a while now.
Yeah, Millstar's catching up on Drew, and Andy Russell, I don't know if they'll be realising how little grip Drew has. I think they've just realised that he's run wide.
And this is a situation for Millstar and
Millstar's
Andy.
Just run into the back.
I was going to say...
side by side with Andy Russell and Millstar into the final corner. Drew's gone wide as well. This could be a double overtake for Andy Russell if he goes up the inside here.
No, Drew managed to get ahead, but Andy's now got the inside line around turn 1. And if we get a decent camera angle, he's still there.
It's side by side again, but I don't think he's lifted. I think he's done it now.
Oh, yeah. Coming down to the end of sector 1 then. I mean, brave for Andy to try it, but Millstar's now in a situation where if he just hangs on a second, he'll get the DRS.
Nah.
But he's thinking, no.
I don't think hang on and Millstar goes in the same sentence.
No, I think he was thinking, I'll get it off Andy Russell anyway, so let's just jump ahead. So Drew may have DRS as well, but yeah, his tyres are much, much older.
No, just sorry we've missed it, but RDB has just got past Dave the Hart. We haven't seen that.
Okay, well, Hybrid Nuke still leading the race. He'll be able to pit fairly soon and take another set of options to the end if he wants to. Rickster is down in third place with Hindle. I mean, Hindle's 20 seconds off the lead at the moment, and he's got, well, both first and second have got another stop to make. Rickster is only 4 seconds behind Hindle. May be able to close that up, may not be able to close that up. We'll have to wait and see. From a Racing GP, he's 33 seconds off the lead, and he's got Richie Davey trying to catch him up at the moment in 5th place, 37.5 seconds off the lead. As James mentioned, RDB is now ahead of Dave the Harp, so Dave's either struggling on his tyres or RDB's going well on his at the moment.
Yeah, the gap that Richie Davies pulled out over Dave the Harp is about 5 seconds now, so space of three laps it's been about 5 seconds, so that's pretty decent going there from Richie Davies, clawing in on GP now.
Yep, well, he can see him, he can see where his target is, but I think they'll both have another stop to make. Now, let's quickly touch on Millstar's question from the qualifying session. Mentioned earlier, he was asking the commentary team what our sort of best moment from the World Championship, World Series and FRRI Day sessions were. Now, obviously, James, you're not really commentated on the FRRI Days, but you have done the World Championship, so what would you say has been the best bit of the World Championship from a commentary point of view this season?
I've got to say the best moment of all time had to be Stocky's first win at Bahrain. That's got to go down as a legendary moment, not just for the amazing driving constantly lap after lap from Stocky and Kev 180, but just the
emotional reaction afterwards.
I'm going to call it an emotional release.
Yeah. I mean, if no one's ever seen that, it's worth watching. I mean, the highlights video that you did was quite funny, but also told the story. But it didn't actually tell all of the story either. So yeah, go and find Stocky's footage and watch his last lap at Bahrain. It's good, brilliant, and funny all at the same time. But Dave the Harp, he's now all over the back of RDB. He's going to have a look into turn one.
RDB's tyres look to have been decent when he's come up behind, but he's still got some decent pace in that Red Bull.
Yeah, well, the difficult thing for Dave is that he's now effectively going to have given RDB DRS when they get down there, but with a better tyre, I suppose he would have felt that he's got to make the move, and even if RDB attacks him back into this next chicane, he'll have the tyres for the next bit.
Even closer, we've got Richie Davey on GP heading down the first straight. GP's backed out of that one. Thinking about the second straight, but GP needs to get a really good exit now.
Well, I think GP's going to be sort of towards the end of his stint on this particular set of tyres, so it could be... I mean, the undercut around here is absolutely enormous as well. I mean, we're not talking 1 or 2 seconds, we're talking 3, 4, 5 seconds for an undercut here. So losing a position when you're thinking about pitting soon is not that big of a worry really around here.
Yeah, I think we've got now clawing back in on RDB and Dave Hart.
Well, Dave's managed to stay ahead of RDB through those DRS zones, and Andy Russell is closing in on them as well, and Millstar's not that far away.
GP's in. GP's in the pit.
So that'll be
also, for... up at the front, just to let you know, I think Rickster is closing in now on Hindle.
He was 4 seconds behind, and I think visibly you could say...
it's about maybe 1.5 seconds.
I'd say 1.001. He's not going to get the DRS.
Yeah, I don't think it'll be long before he does that.
No, well, Hindle's going... he was going defensive.
Dave the Hart and RDB just exiting the pit lane. RDB's on the options and Dave Hart's gone for the primes. He's left it till the very end to run those. 8 laps left to go.
Well, I mean, here's a question for you. I mean, would you run the prime tyres at the end of the race here?
I would I'd probably be tempted to get them over and done with in my second stint.
Yeah.
But that's just personal.
Yeah, well, the gap between Richter and Hindle has gone from 1.001 down to about 0.001.
And RDB is going for the move on David Harp straight out the pits. That's an easy breeze pass, I think. You know, David Harp's trying back around the outside. It's good to see a bit of spirit there from David Harp, but no, RDB's driven straight into the back of David Harp. He's just probably completely stopped his straight line speed. David Hart's left the door open, but RDB's going for a dummy back around the outside, trying to do to David Hart what he did to him in the previous, but David Hart is not giving up. This is fantastic battling between these two, and it's bringing Drew along for the ride.
It definitely is. I mean, Dave's in a situation where on those prime tyres he's going to have to go defensive.
Yeah.
Richie Davey, he's been disqualified.
Disqualification. Charlie Whiting he's been a bit harsh tonight.
I think Charlie Whiting's been up in that hotel there on the champagne a bit. I mean, we might usually see disqualifications come towards the end of a race, but no, lap 20 for Richie Davey. Dave's under a load of pressure now.
Yeah, you can tell with them primes and the sun setting, less temperature in the circuit, and you can tell the options are coping with it. The primes are not, as Andy Russell, he's coming out of the pits. I think he's going to be behind this gaggle.
He's going to be right in the middle of it. He's going to be right in the middle of it. He is right in the middle of it.
Behind. Is Drew going to go for a move? No, Andy Russell is brake late.
Andy has also gone for the prime tyre. Oh, this could get interesting. On this
David Hart train.
Yeah, choo-choo. Okay.
The conductor.
I was thinking, I'm of an age where I remember Thomas the Tank Engine, but you can't call the Fat Controller anymore. It's politically incorrect, apparently. As Dave the Hart, he's under pressure.
He's keeping it round the outside there.
RDB,
he didn't trust him. Yeah, he sort of braked way too early. He didn't trust that David leaves the space, and he did.
But he's now got Andy Russell on him. Yeah, he's got Andy Russell on him. He may lose another position here. Or should I say lose a position? No, holding it.
And RDB, Andy Russell and Drew may think that it is just the smoke coming from the engine of that choo-choo train, but no, it's Dave Harp smoking a big fat one.
I tell you what, we have missed James. Richter has managed to get ahead of Hindle, although I think that may have been Hindle making a pit stop. No,
Drew's gone for a move up the inside of Andy Russell, and luckily for Drew, he managed to keep hold of it, but that was almost 2 cars in the barrier.
Okay, switches of position between Richter and Hindle. It was because Hindle had pitted and then Richter has just pitted. They're still running second and third, and Hindle has had a nice healthy little undercut on him. So Hindle running second place at the moment. Dave's going to struggle
really
here.
Really struggling. He's going to have to get all the defensive textbook moves done, which he's done so far, but this looks like it's going to be 6 long laps.
Oh, Drew going a little bit deep in the background there with Andy Russell. I mean, RDB's obviously thinking about attacking and overtaking Dave the Hart, but at the same time, he's got to be conscious of Andy Russell there, who is ready to attack him.
What Dave's trying to do is he's thinking, well, you know what, this is going to be so hard, but what I'm going to have to try and do is try and back these drivers into each other. But RDB's going for the move. I think he's got a decent bit of straight line speed. Dave's still there on the outside. He's up his inside now, but he's giving plenty of room for RDB, and Andy Russell's also going for a move with a glitch there, but he's managed to get back in front of Dave Hart.
He has. Andy Russell's... Oh no, I was about to say Andy Russell's played a blinder there.
God knows where his car is.
He's behind Dave the Hart. I mean, that's if you are following.
Move there from RDB.
I mean, if you are following 2 cars as they go side by side through a chicane, obviously they're going to go slower than if you drive through there on your own. So for someone like Andy Russell or Drew, the opportunities may come on the exits of the corners rather than trying to attack on the way into the corners. If anything happens with this gaggle of cars, then Millstar's not far behind to capitalise on it.
Yep, RDB is now in front, and Andy Russell looks like he won't be hanging around for much longer. Dave's going to have to get very defensive. Is he going to... Yeah, he's covering the middle of the track. But he's got some decent straight line speed for Dave Hart.
I'm just going to have a quick look. Hybrid Nuke has made his final stop of the race. Hindle has made his final stop. Rickster has made his final stop, but stopping a lap later than Hindle has cost him time. From a racing GP, he's in 4th place with RDB and this gaggle of cars behind Dave the Harp, 5th, 6th, 7th and 8th.
Yeah, Drew's looking impatient. I think he's going to be making a move on Andy pretty soon. But the good thing for Andy is he's going to get in DRS off Dave.
Yeah, that he is. Oh, I'll tell you what, RDB's managed to open up a bit of a gap here on Dave the Harp. So RDB could be looking fairly secure as Drew and Andy.
Russell's closed right up on Dave the Harp, but Dave's just thinking about that traction on the exit, and it's managed to keep him in front.
Unfortunately, Andy's not quite got the speed to catch sort of Dave the Harp here. And obviously he has got to think about Drew behind him as well, who is on the option tyre. So, I mean, both Andy and Dave could come under attack from Drew in the last 5 laps of the race. But at the same time, I mean, through this final sector, look how close they've just caught up to RDB.
Yeah, it looks like RDB's had a bit of a scruffy sector. Andy Russell's also had a bit of a scruffy exit under the hotel.
Well, you know what? We'll watch these for a handful of laps, and no overtakes will happen. As soon as we go off board, an overtake will happen.
We've got 4 laps to go. RDB did make that move on Dave the Harp, but his front tyres are looking not very nice. I'm wondering if he's going to make them 4 laps to the end. Whereas Dave the Harp, he's been slower, but he may have just enough grip to get a bit longer. As Dave the Harp's now having to go defensive, and he's up the inside, but Dave's braking late.
Dave's gone deep.
And Andy Russell's gone off circuit. Dave gave him enough room, but he's gone off circuit of his own accord.
Yeah, Andy's backed out of that one a bit there, but now he's really going to have to be careful of Drew. I mean, of these 4 cars, Andy does have the freshest tyre.
Yeah, but Andy, you've got to make your move, be decisive and get on with it. You can't be making half-hearted moves. You're just going to slow yourself down and let Drew up the inside, which he's almost done.
Yeah, he's having a look, and you can't blame him for it.
Here comes the other slightly darker Mana Marussia.
Yep, it's got a new livery on it for the final race of the season.
Yeah, the Red Bull does look to be struggling in front of Dave Harp. I think Dave Harp may have better grip in a few laps' time, as RDB's fronts are just starting to slide.
I mean, that's the thing, if RDB's struggling a little bit now with his tyres, it's just going to get worse and worse. And for Dave the Harp and Andy Russell, if they could just look after theirs, Millstar's really got on to the end of this little train now. And, I mean, this is kind of showing as well just how much time you can lose sort of attacking but getting it wrong around this track.
That's what we saw. We did see the Red Bull, it pitted on the same time as Dave the Harp. Dave the Harp's staying very measured, but he's going to have to get defensive now as Andy Russell has a look on the start-finish straight. Dave's on the inside line, covering it off and running Andy Russell out. Oh, there's been a collision. Has there been a collision or has there been a lag? Yeah, and Drew's through. I think it's Andy Russell. His car is lagging all over the place.
And that's going to give Millstar a chance to catch up and or even attack. And Millstar's on at the option tyre as well.
So yeah, Dave will have been not understanding what was going on there. But Millstar looks impatient and Andy Russell's looking for a move back now on Drew.
Well, we've seen Andy try it a few times. Oh, Andy's car's jumping about again.
Lots of glitching. This could end up nasty. Oh, he's gone off circuit. We don't know what's going on.
That's giving Millstar half a chance. He's going to try around the outside.
Yeah.
They'll have DRS available.
Millstar needs to get in that slipstream of Drew. Keep in front of Andy.
I don't think he's going to be able to attack
straight line
Drew.
Speed in that Lotus. AKA Marussia. But yeah, Dave the Harp, I've got to say, he's stayed consistent with his lap times. He didn't take all the juice out of the tyres straight out of the box. He's stayed very measured. When RDB got in front, he didn't go mental. He's just stayed on the back of him. Now RDB is starting to struggle. And Dave Harp's just got...
Oh, Millstar drew Andy Russell. That's a collision. That's not lag there. That looked like a definite collision. It looked almost like one of the cars got a little out of shape on the curb, and the other two have collected each other.
Drew and Andy Russell both have front wings, so we're very lucky there.
He managed to get away with that one. Now, you were mentioning about Dave the Harp looking after his tyres. He's now all over the back of RDB again. So RDB's tyres perhaps not handling it now.
I think on the last lap RDB is going to be crying that he chose the options with 8 laps to go. Yeah, definitely step in. That's not good. As Milsa actually might have the both of them.
It could happen. I mean, for Dave the Harp, he won't want to wait behind RDB for any length of time. They want to try and always RDB's cars just jump back a little bit. Yeah, Dave's going to want to get past him as early as he possibly can, especially with that with Millstar
a lot
catching
of
him up.
going on with RDB now. One thing for future seasons that could help, it's not always the case, but always if you're competing in FRI, we would advise you buy yourself an Ethernet cable and plug that in rather than use Wi-Fi.
Oh yeah, I mean at the bare minimum, being hardwired can give a more stable connection than being on Wi-Fi. It does help, but there are some internet connections that can't be helped too much. I was having a discussion with someone the other day who lives in a bit of a village and what sort of internet strength they're running, and yeah, it was around the 1 megabyte mark, which is not a lot.
I'm surprised you could even have a chat with them at 1 megabyte.
Oh well, it was a type talk on Facebook. It took a while for the messages to come through, but
yeah, Millstar is now not taking long to close up on the back of Dave the Harp. I think Dave, if he's smart here, I would let him through, knowing full well there's no chance of holding on. But these 2 laps to go, I've let him hassle RDB.
Oh, Millstar's going for it!
The inside, that was very opportunistic. That caught me by surprise. I think he just completely outbraked himself up the inside. But now he's got the cleaner opportunity of breezing past with DRS. But that's just given RDB a nice little gap.
Yeah, as that could have secured RDB's position of 5th place, as Millstar now makes the move into the chicane, a little slow through the corner. That could allow Dave to have a run back at him.
Dave could have a run back at him, but Millstar could be the one that could hassle RDB enough to let Dave back through, but Dave's trying it back around the outside and he's done it. That is fantastic. That was brilliant on 7-lap-old primes over some newer options. You would say Millstar would have had the better grip, but no, Dave's got the talent.
Well, that will have frustrated Millstar a little bit, that one. Probably would have thought...
RDB's still struggling. Look how close he is in front of Dave Hart now.
I mean, something we haven't talked about is fuel. I mean, this circuit is a bit of a juice drinker.
There's the race leader, I think, is on his final lap. He's weaving already, he knows he's won this race.
Well, as long as he doesn't spin it on a curb, end up in the barrier, you could be right there. Yeah. So, I mean, he's got about a 10-second, is it? He's gone up to 11 seconds since I last looked to Hindle, but Hindle, he'll be happy with the 2nd place finish there.
So yeah, if you want to look at the leaders, and I'll watch this battle and let you know if there's an overtake happening. No
problem. So only a few corners left for Hybrid Nuke then. 2-stop strategy made it work, went longer on the tyres than most. Now obviously there'll be a lot of discussions about whether a 2-stop is faster than a 3-stop, but a lot of it could depend on what happens on the track, and obviously there's been a lot happening on the track today. But around the final corner, for the final time this season, Hybrid Nuke will take victory here in Abu Dhabi. 2nd place, Hindle. He started from the back, but it's going to be a 2nd place finish for him. A good result at the final race.
Just to let you know that Dave Harp is fighting for his life for that 6th place. He's not wanting to give it up for Millstar. He's just, luckily for him, he's just got enough grip and straight line speed from RDB's slipstream Now he just needs to hold Millstar off and hope that RDB has a very, very slow final sector.
Now, is anyone going to go for a late lunge here? We saw what happened last night, and we saw what happened with it.
Yeah, into this corner. Millstar, no, I don't think he's going to have enough grunt, but you never know.
Well, from a racing GP, took 4th place, I think it was. I've missed who was in 5th. Apologies for that.
Oh, he's hit the back of Dave.
He has. RDB is 5th place. My apologies for that. So it's going to be 5th for RDB. 6th is going to be for Dave.
Yeah,
it
he
is.
just holds him off just in time. That's well-deserved 6th place there.
7th place for Millstar. 8th place for Andy Russell. I tell you what, even if he did lose his front wing... No, you said he still had his front wing, didn't you?
Yeah, he did.
Yeah, so he was actually catching up to those 3 guys at the end. Drew, by the looks of it, got a puncture.
He's just got a puncture, yeah, on last corner. At least he was running in 9th and not leading the race.
Yeah, well, an action-filled race for him there. He'll be pleased that it lasted longer than it did in Brazil. Perhaps not as pleased as he would have been had he been able to hold on to a higher position. Well, Hybrid Nuke does take victory by the looks of it, with Hindle in 2nd place and Rickster in 3rd. An interesting battle between the 3 of them earlier on. Strategy playing a huge part in the result of the podium there. I mean, massive disappointment for the likes of K-Slay with his... he was leading the race and then a bit of a spin by the looks of it. Don't know if it was contact, but spinning the wing on and a lot of penalties handed out there.
Dave the Harps jumped up another place.
He has. He jumps up to 5th place by 0.2 of a second with those penalties applied there.
Yeah, that's nice to see. We've also got Hindle with a penalty and Rickster, but that hasn't changed their positions.
Nope, that it has not. Most penalties goes to Andy Russell, 5 of them, totaling 15 seconds there. Now, I never sort of answered a sort of best part of the world, my highlight of the World Series this season. To be honest, I didn't really think about it much. There have been some absolutely fantastic races this season. I don't know if I could simply pick out one. There have been so many different highlights at different points.
Was there any move that you actually, in terms of overtake, was the one that was the most satisfying overtake that you did?
That I did, or that I've seen?
Yeah. Either.
For overtakes that I did, it would have been at Spain, 2 cars into turn 1. But for the World Series, I mean, it was very... I'm trying to think. I mean, Monaco was an interesting race for different reasons. But there's been so much action, though, in the World Series this season. I mean, OK, up at the front, you've had both Williams drivers sort of expected to a degree to go and take 1st and 2nd, but there's been plenty of action all the way down the field. So I don't think I could sort of pick out one as a highlight. The whole season's been a highlight, really. I've just seen that the podium drivers have joined us. So we will start firing some questions at them. Race winner, Hybrid Nuke. It looked fairly easy for you out there. K-Slay leading the race. Obviously, he's had his own bit of an incident. Did you get a good view of that one?
No.
No. Oh,
I was just worried about my own race, to be honest.
Well, he was leading, and obviously his bit of an incident frees everybody else up. You've taken the tyres there longer than most other drivers in the field. Was the 2-stop strategy always the plan?
No. I mean, my strategy has to be down to the World Championship Ferrari drivers. They really helped me out. But I went into the race not knowing any kind of strategy. They went, "What strategy are you going for?" I went, "I'm just going to drive until I feel like it." Managed to take the tyres a lot longer and got the 2-stop done.
Well, I mean, was it the gap at the end? 11 seconds. I think Hindle may have been struggling a little bit on his last couple of laps or taking it easy. I mean, was there any parts of the race where you were thinking, okay, they're on 3 stops, they may be able to get back into it?
Not really. I mean, I was watching the gap at the last stint, but that last stint, all I did was take care of my tyres up until the point where I felt like they would drop off. And as my tyres were just crisp yellow, they were pretty fresh yellow, I just started pushing from them, and I know the gap went down to about 10 seconds, and I managed to get it back up to 11.
Well, a fantastic result for you there in the final race of the season. So, James, over to you. Any questions for the race winner?
Yeah, to me, to be fair, that looked like pretty much like a walkover there. Was there any moment where you had any odd discrepancies in terms of lap performance? Do you have any sideways moments, or was it all pretty calm and cool and collected?
I wish that happened all season, to be honest, but there are a couple. There are a couple where I got onto the curve and it would send me a couple of directions, but overall, I think the car was pretty well behaved today.
Nice one. You've tamed the beast, and that's good to see. You run away with it.
Okay, quickly move over to Hindle. Hindle, I would guess an interesting race for you there. I don't know where you got the idea of that sort of strategy from, but it worked for you. I mean, you even baffled James at one point when he was like, he's still got to run the primes. No, he hasn't. Hasn't he? No. So, starting at the back, were you always planning on starting on the prime tyre, going for that strategy, or was the safety car restarts what guided you towards that strategy?
No, well, first of all, the safety car restarts, I've got to say, they were absolutely embarrassing. It was a joke, to be honest.
Yes.
That's not what we want to see, really, cars doing that, but it's all learning experience. But yeah, anyway, on to the race, starting on the primes. I was always going to start on the primes. I was going to go longer, but Dom and James suggested to pit because I was being held up by the cars in front by at least 3 to 4 seconds a lap. They had so much lag, I didn't know where to go. So I thought, yeah, I'd take the options 888, which I did, and to recover the podium was a pretty good result, really.
Well, throughout the sort of the second half of the race, Rickster was obviously a bit of a factor, but obviously, I mean, your undercuts paid off very, very well. I mean, the undercut is big around here. I mean, what sort of lap time, what sort of lap time was you gaining on him on the undercut?
I can't remember, was he in front or behind? He was in front, and I pitted. Well, obviously I pitted, and about 2 laps later he pitted, and I was about 5-6 seconds in front. But I knew in the later into my stint, he'd start gaining that time back, and he did. And he was right behind me at one point, and I was like, oh dear.
Well, you managed to hold him off.
There was one moment where you came out of the pit, and it was pretty bite your nails time and clench your butt cheeks. Was there any moment where you thought, oh, he may have this?
All the way through the lap, the undercut lap, I was catching up to, I'm not going to mention any names, but another laggy car, and I lost 2 to 3 seconds, and I thought, well, that's the undercut gone. As I was going around turn 1, he was underneath me. I thought, oh no, he's going to get me. But I managed to just get out in front and then pulled out that gap.
Well done on P2.
Yeah, it was a good result for you there. A good way to end the season. We'll move on to third place, Rickster. And I'm sorry about this, Rickster. I've got a comment from one of the drivers. To Rickster, sorry mate, that third in the table is mine. I think you can guess who that is from. A bit cheeky from him. But overall, how was the race from your point of view? Because at some points early on, it looked like there was a chance of attacking for the lead.
Yeah, I thought that early on, but a bit later on, obviously, it's a different story. But I came into, as from my pre-race comments, I came into this race with no practice whatsoever. I literally had chucked a setup together in time trial before we started, and I didn't expect to do well anyway. but to be fighting for the lead for the first half of the race was pretty surprising. I just tried to, maintain pace as much as I could, but Hybrid ended up getting away, and then I had to deal with Hindle as well, and just couldn't catch it in.
With having obviously the limited practice, you wouldn't have known sort of what sort of stints you could do on the tyres. So was it just a case of doing what the game said, and that's possibly cost you a second place position, ignoring the penalties in game?
Yeah. Well, like I said, I had limited practice, so yeah, I didn't have time to figure out a strategy. I just took 28 divided by 4, and I was like, right, I'm going to do 4 stints of 7. Pretty sure the option tried to do 7 laps, and then I discovered they could actually do more than that. Yeah. Well, for me anyway. But yeah, I think that hindered me a little bit.
I mean, there was a stage I think it was when you was on your prime stint. There was about 5-6 laps into that prime stint where it was a case of, if you'd have perhaps had the knowledge of the tyres, you could have switched your strategy there and gone perhaps a little more aggressive, kind of matching a similar strategy that Hindle went for. But with not having that knowledge, it was always going to be a difficult one, but a fantastic third place result anyway. Now, over to James. Questions for Rickster.
Yeah, you had incredible pace throughout that race, and the moment when I think it may have been your first pit stop, I think you went for the undercut. Did you feel that you had brilliant grip on your outlap? Because it looked like a decent lap, but then to see you still in P3 at the pit lane exit, did you feel a bit like you could have found some more throughout that outlap?
Yeah, definitely. It was annoying, but on the primes, my pace was awful. On the options, I was completely fine. It was just my primes that let me down in the race, and yeah, that was it really. But I think the thing I'm most annoyed about is, like GP just said, he's keeping that third place. But I did hear from Charlie in that race that he was down in 9th or 10th at some point, and I was running in 2nd. So I was really excited, and then see him 4th at the end.
Well, Charlie may have been a little surprised by the strategy there, because I think GP had a very similar strategy to Hindle, which was to do a very, very short prime stint. And actually, I mean, we'll go back to Hindle on that. I mean, it's a sort of a strategy I did yesterday, a short first stint, a short prime stint, and you've done a very short prime stint today. Obviously, you've said that was suggested to you from the World Championship Ferrari drivers, but was it something that you looked at and thought, well, yeah, why not? Because the options are a hell of a lot faster than those primes.
I was going to plan on doing the short stint, and then I was also going to do a free stop. But obviously, when I was driving, I was just thinking about trying to get past Charlie. I mean, I just couldn't get past anywhere. I mean, I didn't know where to put my car. His car was stopping on track, then going forward, then left, then right, then it was up in the air. I just didn't know what to do. And then James and Dom said, pit now. I was like, pit now? I'm on lap 4. They said, honestly, pit now and you'll get the undercut. And when everybody else had done their pits, I was in a net P3. Yeah. So it was a very, very good strategy call by them.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, the undercut around this track is huge, and it can help massively. I mean, obviously, we had a discussion on last week's commentary as well. And seeing as you're quite emotional about the bit of lag there with Charlie, maybe I should ask you again about the when we were talking about it and the connectivity test that I was suggesting. Is that something that you'd rather see put in for the next season? Because I mean, obviously, lag is a major issue.
Definitely. I mean, it's I don't know. It's. I think the 3 safety car restarts, and I know there was about 4 or 5 people who had massive lag in each restart, And I think that's something the league, the admins could look at for next season. If they're constantly getting disconnected, even before the race starts, then just saying, look, you've had 2 strikes, you're out. That's what I was saying. I mean, cars were disconnecting before we'd even started, and they were still in the lobby for the next restart. I thought, well, what's the point in that? But I guess the rules are the rules in this season.
It's not just the rules are the rules. I mean, you have to take into account that. I mean, everyone that is racing is wanting to play the game. I mean, you take Adam 4600 for example. He knew he had lag. He wasn't instructed in that final restart to go down to the back of the grid. That's something that he did off of his own accord. So you can kind of look at that and go, well, he's realised he's got a bit of a problem. He's taken action on that. I mean, we would always advise people to try and make sure that your connections are as good as they could possibly be. Okay, I'm going to quickly pop over to the YouTube channel. If anyone's got any questions they want to ask the drivers, feel free to do so. I did forget to mention that earlier. While I have a quick look, I will put the question of the day to the drivers on the podium as well. So have a bash at this one, guys. In 1982, who won the British Grand Prix?
Oh, Jesus Christ. What's that? Who's the guy? On Sky F1, what's he called? Johnny Herbert?
No, it wasn't Johnny Herbert.
I'm pretty sure
he's won. I think we're about 95ish. I think he was teammate with Shuey.
And he won at Silverstone. It wasn't that one. Maybe 1990 something, but not 82, no.
So yeah, we're looking another 12 years back, and like I was saying, that's 8 years before we're born. That's God knows.
What about Nico's dad?
Keke. Yeah, it could be.
Oh, it's a good guess. It's a good guess. You're going to let the others have a guess, Hindle. Hybrid, go on, have a bash at that one.
I don't know, man. I wasn't born then.
What was I?
It's going to be Keke or Nicky Lauda.
Ding, ding, ding. Rickster gets the points. It was Nicky Lauda who won the 1982 British Grand Prix, although I don't think I'll give him the points because it was his second guess. But yeah, Nicky Lauda won the British Grand Prix in a McLaren Ford ahead of Didier Pironi by 25 seconds, and an extra bonus point if you know what track it was at.
Did you say Pironi? You said Britain, didn't you?
Yes. Which track?
Silverstone.
Nope.
I don't know.
I think Donny, it were the only one British Grand Prix at Donny, which were 93.
Which means it wasn't Donington Park, and whoever said Brands Hatch was correct. Because when they were running at Brands Hatch...
I'm pretty sure you said no.
Yeah, I thought that.
No, I just didn't.
No.
I just didn't answer to Brands Hatch. It was Silverstone. I said no to. Yeah, it was Brands Hatch. There was once, I think, there was one season where Brands Hatch was the British Grand Prix, and the same season Donington Park was the European Grand Prix. I think there may have been the odd season where Donington Park was the British Grand Prix, but for most occasions it was the European one. But no trick questions for you this week, guys, so you should be glad about that one. We'll end the season on a more sensible note. Okay, we've not had really any questions come through, only GP's cheeky comment to Rickster. K-Slay apologising if anyone was affected by his lag early on. Never happened before, so I'm sure where it came from. I mean, it was a disappointing one for him. I think it was his first pole position, or maybe second pole position of the season. But the guys on the podium here won't really care about that, because one of them's taken the title, another one's taken second place. Both of those two have taken the Constructors' title, and Rickster is going to be sending for a Racing GP a nasty letter asking him for an extra 2 points. Okay, time to bring this to near enough an end. So, podium sitters, thank you very much for joining us for a little bit of a chat there. Congratulations and well done on your result in round 19 of the World Series at Abu Dhabi.
Cheers, lad. Thanks for the season.
Now, for the viewers or anyone else that may be watching, the final round of the season is the final race that, or league race that we'll do on F1 2015. The next season will be on, F1 2015. The next season will be on F1 2016. In the off season, we'll have some events going on, and also, I wouldn't say sorting a few things out, but putting in place a few things. So I'll have to keep an eye on Facebook for information on that one. Next up on the Front Row Racing YouTube channel, though, will be tomorrow evening, 9 p.m, to watch James crash in the Lotus 72D.
I've got to try and I'm leading now, aren't
I? By 2 points, I think.
Yeah, 2 points is all you need.
Well, yeah, if you get to the end and the end of the season and that's the gap you got, you'll take it. But yeah, that'll be 9 p.m. Tomorrow for the Front Row Racing Project Cars Fridays League. So you're more than welcome to join us for that one. And we can all cheer on James or do a bit of a...
That didn't sound very convincing, mate.
No, it didn't, but that's because, we was talking about Ace Ventura Pet Detective earlier. I've now got another one, sort of Forrest Gump, going through my mind, where all the fans are behind at the end of the touchline going, stop! I just imagine a group of fans at the edge of the track going, stop before you hit the barrier. But yeah, I mean, it'd be interesting.
I can see myself losing it in that last corner, because that is a nightmare. I mean,
here's a question for you, actually. I mean, obviously, you've raced these cars on F1. How does the old, 1972 Lotus compare to the modern-day Formula 1 car?
The modern-day Formula 1 car, the setup needs to be pinpoint, spot on, in order to get the best out of it. The Lotus, you can get the setup absolutely pinpoint spot on, as I found out last week when I just bolted. But at the same time, even the first 4 races when the setup wasn't perfect, it's so fun to drive. On the limit, at the same time, you've got enough time to react if there's a problem. The problem with the top line Formula 1 modern cars is... if you make a mistake, that's it, you're off.
Yeah.
But, yeah, they're just a ton of fun to drive, even if you're out there on your own in practice. They are so enjoyable. And if people complain about dirty air on the modern games, they need to check out the dirty air in them cars. You're pretty much non-existent front wings.
Yes. But I think that, that's something that I would love to see real F1 do, and that is reduce what can be done with the front wing on the F1 car, because of the effect that it does have. But also, one of the... I've watched a bit of historic F1 recently, and one of the things... I was going through my computer at some of the old videos I had when I was at Silverstone practice sessions, and... I remember when I went to Silverstone, we were probably 2-3 miles away from the track, and it was like, hang on, what's that noise? That can't be an F1 car. And you realise as you get a little closer, okay, it really was. And then you get to the track and you go, now I know why people said I should bring ear defenders, and I haven't. The noise was phenomenal, and that's something I think F1 needs to bring back. And it's not just because it's noise, it's because the effect the noise has. You go and watch an onboard of Schumacher, Montoya, or even the hybrid days. The noise gives an aspect of speed, so to say.
The probably one of the best aspects of on-screen TV Formula 1 and the sound has to be the old Hockenheim circuit with the V10s. That was absolutely epic, just echoing through the trees. I think even Jenson Button were in one of his first few seasons, and just if you want to understand speed and being on the limit, that was the time.
Yeah, definitely. But then, it's also surprising. Even in recent races where, I said not that long ago, it's been a while since in F1 they're breaking track records for lap times. Obviously, there's the newer circuits, which they could keep breaking records. But some of the older circuits, the records are not being broken. But actually, this season, records have started to be broken a little bit. So, I mean, even though the cars look slow, sound slow, they are actually still pretty quick. But I'd still prefer to get rid of the hybrid system and have a proper fuel-guzzling monster in the back of the car.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. I think, sorry, we digress, and this may go on for another minute. The main thing that you can clearly see with the modern Formula 1 cars is they are clearly too easy to drive. As an 18-year-old boy has got in a Formula 1 car and just won the most recent Grand Prix. Not taking anything away from Max Verstappen.
No, I mean, the guy's got talent.
He's got talent beyond belief of any of us in these leagues. But at the same time, I want to see a car that the drivers struggle to drive. And we're not seeing that right now, unless you're in a manor.
True. They could always take away the power steering systems. Go back to the Mansell days. I'm only quicker because I've got strong arms and I wrestle the car around the corners. Anyway, I think we'll end it on that one. Okay, so as I've already mentioned, next up on the Ferrari Racing YouTube channel will be the Project Cars League, the Friday League tomorrow night, 9 p.m. Obviously, next Wednesday, Thursday, there won't be an FRR World Championship or World Series event going on because we have got to the end of the season. The final points and standings, they'll get worked through, and what I might actually do for this final round, the final reviews on Wednesday for the World Championship and on Thursday for the World Series, but no confirmation on that one. It's just if I do decide to do that and I don't let loads of people know, at least I've mentioned it here. Anyway, time to bring it to an end. So James, thank you very much for joining us on what was a very difficult evening's commentary early on. Difficult but well worth it once everybody played along and did their part. Yep. I've been Ferrari Racing DP. Thank you very much for watching. This has been the Ferrari Racing World Series, and we'll see you all again soon.